Anything is easier than squatting down in a tiny little thong made of plastic bags, covered in mud, looking up at Ian, who's got flowers in his hair. Hello, I'm Jonathan Bailey, and I'm here with the Hollywood Reporter to share with you some of my close collabs. The first film, obviously, with Ari, the collaboration was like putting a Mento in Diet Coke, and it was twinkly, to say the least, and that was right for the chemistry between Fiyero and Glinda, and that sort of ability to keep everything alive and playful. I look forward to working together again for sure. So yeah, with both of them actually. It's just amazing what you can do with eye contact on a set, and that's especially true with Matt Bomer. We can check in with each other, and especially when you're telling this love story over 40 years, a love story of two men, obviously at a time where the government were crippling the gay community. But the playing of that and being around those people showed me what it's like to have a true confidence in an environment where you can just soar and fly. And as you go forward, we see each other all the time. I love Matt, I love Noah, I love Jelani, and Ron makes me sort of well up when I see him. I think a lot of us have got a lot to thank Ron for. And it's amazing when you think about Philadelphia, obviously extraordinary Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, and then we had a series played by a gay cast. There's nothing to be prouder of, really, than that. We actually met doing Broadchurch, and she came into the second season of a TV series in the UK called Broadchurch, and she came in as my sort of like love interest. And we spent so many hours in a courtroom, and I was at the back playing a journalist, and she was playing, I think, the prosecuting lawyer or on the lawyers team. Anyway, so we sort of got to know each other there. We really bonded one day after a really hot, endless day filming in this sort of varnished cauldron of a set. And we got in the car and had a beer on the way back, and we just sort of really clicked. And I didn't know then, but that we ended up, doing Crashing together. And I've described filming Crashing before as being on the brink of an orgasm for 6 weeks. And the truth is, I feel like I'm on the brink of an orgasm every time I see Phoebe. She really is an amazing sounding board, and I think our brains just go blink, a bit like Tetris. When Fiyero meets Elphaba, she's the first person that he meets in his life, I think, who completely sees through that and shuts him down. So the collaboration with Cynthia, especially going into the second film, proved incredibly vital, tender. We know what Cynthia did in the first film, which was sort of Olympian and smart and beyond even, what her talent could achieve. And in the second film, she just continues to mine a performance that was really astonishing to play with. And our collaboration really was about, which I think was true to Fiyero and Elphaba, was one of making sure that there was everything she needed. And it was just a joy to be able to unpeel and together, because that's what they do really. And she inspires that in him, and she's inspired that in me. He played King Lear and I played Edgar with him at Chichester Festival Theatre, which is where the National Theatre was founded in the 60s. And it was a spiritual, religious experience going to work with one of our greatest Shakespearean actors, greatest actors. And you work with someone like Ian, and you know that you just want to work as hard as you can so that you can play as fiercely and as intelligently and as sillily as he does. And one thing I learned, he played Edgar before, and so it was amazing to have him there as a sort of mentor. But it's one of the hardest parts in Shakespeare. So having done that, I realised anything's easier. Anything is easier than squatting down in a tiny little thong made of plastic bags, covered in mud, looking up at Ian, who's got flowers in his hair, being amazing. But every day we'd get drenched on stage in a rain machine, and then we'd come off stage and like sit by the sort of electric fire, have a little snack, and put the world to rights. Jurassic World Rebirth. So much to say. About to go on a press tour, and I'm sure a lot will be covered. But Gareth Edwards, I wanted to say, is one of my most important collaborations. You know, his films have been, I've been a massive fan of Gareth's, way before I even knew I'd get to work with him. I think many, having seen the film now, which by the way is like knockout, and I can't wait to see you in the cinemas watching it. Some of the most beautiful human moments weren't scripted, and we sort of came up with it in the moment. And so we sort of managed to really to build on, for Loomis, Dr. Henry Loomis, the love, the wonder, the awe, everything that, you know, I think we so loved about so many films growing up. And so much of the way that Gareth talks about his process, I really understand and meet and feel the same way. Ultimate collaboration is, and hard to choose one. So I've just said the Bridgerton family. Filming with, you know, supporting Phoebe Dynevor in the first season, and then going into our own and having Shelley Conn and Charitha Trandon as well as the Cathani family. With Simone, it was like tunnel vision, and it's an amazing enemies to lover story. And yeah, but really it's this amazing opportunity to share a whole lifetime, you know, as characters and as siblings, and that plays out. I am going to be an older brother to all of them until the day I die. I've been Jonathan Bailey, here with The Hollywood Reporter, sharing with you some of my close collabs.